she sends me emails of an intimate nature.
Welcome to WatchMojoUK, and today we're looking at British celebs' most chilling tales about being stalked.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
In his interview, he said that he was going to put a knife through my face.
Richard Gadd.
Can I get you something?
No thanks.
Are you sure? Cup of tea?
No thanks.
You have to buy something.
Can't afford something.
Comedian Richard Gadd wasn't well known at all until his series Baby Reindeer appeared on the television. But his Edinburgh Fringe shows that also detailed his stalking nightmare were critically acclaimed, propelling him towards Netflix. Baby Reindeer was one of the biggest shows of 2024, taking the world by storm, as Gadd, starring as a fictionalized version of himself, relived his stalking nightmare at the hands of a woman identified only as Martha.
I sat there for hours taking it all in, piecing together her whole timeline. Her graduate job, how she got fired for inappropriate behaviour with the boss, how she started hanging around outside his house.
The real-life woman, Fiona Harvey, has since gone public about it all after internet sleuths identified her and has announced she's going to sue Netflix for being negligent when it comes to protecting her identity.
First of all, why have you decided to go public?
The internet sleuths tracked me down and hounded me and gave me death threats.
Queen Elizabeth II. People tried to assassinate Her Majesty many times over the years, with none of them succeeding.
Days earlier, he'd filmed a video saying he planned to assassinate her in revenge for the British Army's massacre of protesters at Jallianwala Bagh in India.
In 2021, one chilling story broke that a young man had broken into Windsor Castle to try and assassinate the Queen with a crossbow on Christmas Day.
He pleaded guilty to 3 offences, including under the Treason Act.
He got nowhere near Her Majesty, luckily, and she likely wasn't too perturbed by the situation. He ended up in Broadmoor, where courts heard he was motivated to make the attempt by his love of Star Wars.
We also heard in court today how he'd created an AI chatbot that encouraged his plans.
Other royals have also had close calls like this, like an incident back in 1974 when Princess Anne, only 23 at the time, was almost kidnapped by a dangerous armed man. Sophie EllisBexter.
It's murder on the dance floor. You better not kill the groove, DJ.
Singer Sophie EllisBexter went through a frightening ordeal recently with a fan who'd met her in 2020 and proceeded to send her an array of online messages as well as dozens of real-life parcels.
You think you've got your way, but baby, there's a catch.
He didn't manage to get EllisBexter's exact address, instead leaving the parcels with her next-door neighbour, but turned up in the area many times.
You drive me crazy up the wall.
He was ultimately taken to court and completely banned from contacting EllisBexter and her family at all, after he had made numerous fake accounts to keep messaging her after she blocked him. Even with the parcels and abusive messages, it still took months for police to intervene. Colleen Noan.
And it's like, I'm living in fear. That should be enough. They're following me. They're sitting outside my house. They're waiting in cars.
According to Colleen, all of the Nolans were stalked during the height of their fame in the 1970s and 80s, and fearing for their lives.
Me and my sisters one time had a really scary guy that was stalking us. And
while the panel debated the media frenzy around Baby Reindeer, Colleen opened up, saying that the family was terrorised while touring, and one man made a bomb threat against them before getting arrested.
So they found out someone who was about to be released who was obsessed, and 6 months before they came to me and said, look, we think this is going to happen.
She was another person advocating for earlier police intervention in stalking cases. On a different recording of Loose Women, Christine Lampard shared her own stalking experiences when a man deluded himself into thinking he was married to her.
He randomly turned up at the hotel we were staying in, and which does freak you out because you think, well, there's a sense of someone knowing where you are.
He seemed to stop after a stern talking to from her husband. David Beckham. In 2022, news broke that David Beckham had fallen victim to a stalker, a woman in her 50s.
Now, David Beckham has spoken out about fearing for his family.
She targeted the entire Beckham family and went to many of their addresses, sending lots of letters. But the most frightening moment was when the woman tried to collect the Beckham's daughter, Harper, from school, while claiming that Harper was actually her child because the Beckhams had stolen her eggs.
Victoria added that it left Harper afraid to go out, and now obviously that's a very extreme experience.
The woman was so unwell that she didn't face criminal charges for any of this, and ended up getting sections so that she could receive medical help for her delusions. Thankfully, school staff saw through her lies, and Harper remained safe.
Obviously that's a very extreme situation because of the Beckham's fame. And hopefully the rest of us wouldn't have to deal with something like that.
Stacy Solomon.
I had a situation where somebody who I had crossed paths with became angry towards me for no reason whatsoever.
Another loose women staple, Stacy Solomon has also opened up on ITV's lunchtime talk show about her experiences of being stalked. This was back in 2017 during an item about stalking, in which Solomon said she was harassed by a man she'd never spoken to. She said he prowled around where she lived, pretending to be a cleaner so that he could gain access to her house, and that the police did nothing.
And I reported it to the police. A one-off doesn't mean anything. This person then sent letters, huge amounts of detail about things that were untrue.
Years later, in 2022, and Solomon talked on social media about being followed around Mykonos by a photographer during her hen party. She said she didn't even know she was being followed until pictures of her started appearing online.
And again, it's still not enough evidence for the police to be able to put a restraining order, and I don't know why.
Noel Edmonds.
There was a woman outside, and I remembered her from when she terrorised me back in the 70s.
A mainstay of British television, in 2016, Noel Edmonds went public for the first time about the harassment he suffered since the 1970s. He believes that it's one woman responsible for much of this, and appeared on This Morning to make a public appeal to the stalker to ask her to stop. He was prompted to talk about this after fellow TV presenter, The One Show's Alex Jones, also talked about what she endured when she took out a restraining order against somebody stalking her.
It became quite serious when she was accusing me of having an affair with her, and she wanted to go to the media and the public and out our relationship.
Edmonds said that this stalker even turned up at his house and talked about a separate incident where he met up with a man who had threatened to murder him online, to ask him why.
And right at the beginning, you'll like this bit as a woman, she looked him in the eye and said, "Why do you want to kill my husband?" And he went to pieces completely.
Keira Knightley. This may be the weirdest stalking story in our video, as for months, Knightley was harassed by a strange man.
I want you to leave and never come back.
I'm disinclined to acquiesce to your request.
He was arrested and ultimately committed in 2017 so that he could receive psychiatric treatment. During his stalking campaign, he sent Knightley tweets about his plot to murder her husband, calling himself a, quote, public executioner, end quote. But he also themed his stalking incidents around cats, using the fake name Mark Catopus online, and also meowing through Knightley's letterbox, not to mention giving her a USB drive full of what was described as cat-themed music.
Thank you so much, Mark. This is exactly what I was hoping for.
It was all very sinister, with the stalker even contacting Knightley's mother at one point, sending her letters.
They're all of me.
Holly Willoughby.
And of course, we want to start by sending our love, best wishes and respect to our Holly.
There were already rumours circulating that Holly Willoughby was going to leave This Morning after the Philip Schofield scandal, but she remained on the show until a man was arrested for plotting to kidnap and murder her.
But recent events, especially in the past week, have been hard to deal with, and she's quite rightly putting her family first.
She immediately withdrew from hosting This Morning, fearing for her life, and was under guard for a while. The man was trying to persuade somebody else to do the dirty work for him, with very little warning that such an attempt was going to be made. Willoughby was horrified, and we're not surprised that she left This Morning completely, withdrawing from the public eye for a while.
Holly is on the front pages this morning after police arrested a 36-year-old man over an alleged kidnap plot. He's now been charged by Essex Police.
Lily Allen. For 7 years, Lily Allen was terrorised by a stalker, talking about it publicly for the first time back in 2016.
And I recoiled back into my bed, at which point he ripped the duvet off. And I jumped out of bed at that point.
Her stalker found her on Twitter, and the ordeal began. as he sent her a seemingly endless string of letters in which he threatened her life and his own. Even scarier, although Alan kept the police informed of what was happening, she didn't actually know what the stalker looked like, so if he was following her in public, she wouldn't have known.
I was DJing at an event and I came home at about 1 o'clock in the morning to find the handbag that had been stolen on the bonnet of my car, burnt out.
He even once came into her house and got into her bedroom before being chased out. Only then did the police actually intervene.
He started shouting at me in the court. When the judge said, "Why should I grant you bail today?" he said, "Because the world would be a better place without her."
Today, Alan is one of the most prominent celebrities calling for the creation of a stalking register. Let us know in the comments what you think the police should do to tackle stalking.
I had a convicted stalker stalking me.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojoUK and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.